If you are sexually active, you no doubt turn to Google to find out what you should be tested for. And when you Google, you probably Google, does the CDC recommend, and then fill in the blank. Stop doing that. That is completely unhelpful for you, and I'm going to explain why right now. Hi, my name is Robert. I own a telemedicine company called Shameless Care, and we do STI testing amongst other things, medications, stuff like that. But let's go ahead and dig right into it because this is going to blow your mind. Now, I know you think that the CDC has a crack team of scientists working around the clock to come up with all of these different policies and things like that. But the truth is, all of these policies are brought to the CDC, at least in terms of STIs, from what is called the United States Services Preventive Task Force. And this is a group of volunteer clinicians who get together, very, very smart people, no doubt about it, and they look at the evidence on, does a prevention screening or medication, is the juice worth the squeeze, essentially, is the best way that I can think of it. So think about something like a screening for lung cancer amongst smokers, or screening for heart disease amongst males over the age of 45 or something like that. These are the sorts of policies that they work with, and they look at kind of the population as a whole, no doubt about it. Now, when it comes to STIs, people would be absolutely floored to know what these recommendations actually are. For example, gonorrhea and chlamydia, they recommend that women be screened for gonorrhea and chlamydia, particularly young women under the age of 25, because that's where the most infections are. Now, why do you think that most of the infections are in women younger than 25? Is it because biologically they just can't get gonorrhea or chlamydia when they get older? Or is it because on average, women under 25 are more sexually active? Well, it's obviously that last thing, right? But you see what happens is that when you get older as a woman, if you're still dating around, you're on Tinder, you're polyamorous, whatever, you're just as susceptible to these things as anybody else. And they do cover that in the screenings. They say women younger than 25 or women who are sexually active. But you want to know what's super interesting? They don't recommend gonorrhea or chlamydia screening amongst heterosexual men at all. At all. They say it's not worth it. Same thing for things like syphilis. They only recommend screenings for syphilis in men who are African American and who have been in jail. It's either an and or an or. Either way, I know myself as a white heterosexual, I should never be screened for syphilis, even though I'm sexually active. And so all of these things, again, they come from this United States Preventive Services Task Force, a great group of people, but they're trying to make recommendations for the broad population as a whole, which just may not apply to you. So if you're sex positive and you really want to know if you have an STI, you cannot figure out what to be tested for by Googling, does the CDC recommend? Because generally speaking, the CDC doesn't recommend anything. They don't recommend screening for mycoplasma. They don't recommend screening for gonorrhea and chlamydia. They don't recommend screening for any of the things that you might have as a sexually active adult and be spreading to other people. And so it's up to you to learn about STIs and figure out what you need to be screened for. A great way to do that is from shamelesscare.com. I messed up the name of my own company, shamelesscare.com. And you can go to the STI testing page and take a look at the things that we recommend. All right? So that's it for me today. I'm Robert from Shameless Care. Thank you. If you learned something, please give us a like and a follow. Talk soon.